Hatho, Abraham Lowe's most useful topic for real life. Temper control and self-endorsement as a daily method to calm your nervous system and rebuild your life. Abraham Lowe taught something that feels almost unfairly practical. You don't have to win an inner war to improve your life. You don't have to erase every uncomfortable feeling. You don't have to wait until you feel confident, calm, or motivated. You do have to learn one core skill: control what you can control, and stop arguing with what you can't. Lowe's work is basically a training system for the exact moment you're tempted to spiral. He offers a method that's simple, repeatable, and most importantly works, even when you're not in a great mood. This article focuses on a topic that tends to unlock the rest: how temper control plus self-endorsement. In Lowe's framework, temper isn't just anger, it's the whole reactive surge: impatience, panic, resentment, urgency, despair, irritability, helplessness, and that "I can't stand this" feeling that turns discomfort into drama. When you learn to control temper, you stop feeding symptoms and spirals. When you learn self-endorsement, you rebuild self-trust and consistency. Together, they create a calm, stable base for goals, relationships, and decision making. Chapter 1: The Problem. Low is solving. Feelings bully behavior. Most people live like this. A feeling shows up. The mind treats it as a command. Behavior follows the feeling. Later, you regret the behavior and feel worse. Low flips the order. He teaches that you can act your way into better feelings by practicing your self-control in small, repeatable steps. In other words, you don't have to feel better to behave better. You behave better to feel better. That is a huge relief because it means your progress is not hostage to your mood. Aber 2. Low's central distinction: discomfort versus danger. A cornerstone of Lowe's approach is this idea: wala. Symptoms are distressing, not dangerous. Meaning, racing heart, tight chest, dread, intrusive thoughts, low mood. These can be miserable, but they are not automatically emergencies. When the body feels distress, the mind often shouts, "This is dangerous, fix it now." That panic interpretation intensifies the spiral. Low trains you to interpret symptoms differently. This is uncomfortable. I can stand discomfort. I don't have to obey it. I can still do the next right step. That's temper control in action, refusing to add secondary panic on top of primary discomfort. 3. The temper concept, the hidden fuel behind spirals. In Lowe's language, a temperata is the emotional surge that tries to take over. Temper says, "I can't stand this. It shouldn't be like this. I have to fix it now. This means something terrible. I'm behind, I'm doomed, I'm trapped." Temper is what turns a headline into an hour of doom scrolling. Temper is what turns one awkward moment into a week of rumination. Temper is what turns "I feel uncertain" into "I'm unsafe." So the aim isn't never feel. The aim is don't let temper drive the car. 4. What you can control. Lowe repeatedly comes back to a powerful idea. We suffer extra when we demand control over the uncontrollable. So he draws a clean line. You can control your muscles, your child behavior, your child attention, your child words, your decisions. You cannot directly control the first wave of feelings, random thoughts, how fast a symptom disappears, other people's moods, uncertainty. This is not pessimistic, it's empowering, because the minute you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you regain control over what matters, your next move. 5. Lowe's muscle control is a superpower. One of the most useful Lowe-style principles is that muscles obey better than feelings. You can't command your fear to disappear on demand, but you can command your shoulders to drop, You can unclench your jaw. You can slow your breath. You can stand up and walk. That's why muscle control is such a key lever. It gives you immediate influence over the nervous system. A low style rule. When you can't control feelings, control muscles and behavior. This is how you interrupt temper at the body level before it becomes a story. 6. The 4-step low loop. Here's a clean, repeatable loop, very aligned with Low's approach. 1. Spot. Name what's happening without drama. This is temper. This is distress. This is a symptom surge. This is an urge. 2. Separate. Split me from the symptom. My mind is having a fearful thought. My body is having a stress reaction. I'm not required to obey it. 3. Soften. Muscle control. Jaw unclench. Shoulders down. Long exhale. 4. Steer. Choose a small, correct behavior. What's the next right step? What would a steady person do for 2 minutes? That's it. That loop is simple enough to use daily, which is why it works. 7. Self-endorsement. The missing ingredient that makes people stick with change. A lot of people try to improve with constant self-criticism. Why am I like this? I should be better. I always fail. Low taught something almost shocking by modern standards. Endorse yourself for effort and self-control, especially when it's small, not ego, not delusion, recognition, because your subconscious repeats what gets rewarded. If every effort is met with criticism, your system learns effort isn't safe. Self-endorsement builds the opposite learning. I tried. I used control. I returned. That counts. And over time, the mind begins to trust you again. Chapter 8. The Self-Endorsement Ledger. This is one of the best low-style practices you can do. Each night, write one line. I endorse myself for walk. Examples. I endorse myself for turning off the news after my window. I endorse myself for doing 2 minutes instead of avoiding. I endorse myself for not escalating a conversation. I endorse myself for resting instead of spiraling. I endorse myself for returning after a wobble. This creates a trail of evidence that you are capable, and that is the foundation of consistency. 9. Temper control in the moment. Scripts you can actually say. Low's style is practical and direct. Here are 10 repeatable scripts. Use one at a time for a week. When you feel urgency, I can do this slowly. Haste makes waste. Calm first. When you feel overwhelmed, I only need the next step. I can stand discomfort. Small is enough to begin. When you feel doom thoughts, this is distress, not danger. This is a symptom surge. I don't have to solve it tonight. When you feel angry, reactive, I can be kind and firm. I'll answer from calm. I don't have to escalate. When you feel shame after a mistake, I return without drama. Progress is made of returns. I endorse my effort. Use them like you'd use a steering wheel, not to argue with the road, but to guide your direction. Chapter 10. The news trigger version. News is an ideal training ground because it triggers threat scanning, helplessness, urgency, outrage loops. A low-style approach would look like this. News, temper loop. 1. Spot. This is temper, this is distress. 2. Muscle control. Shoulders down, jaw unclench, long exhale. 3. Truth. Distressing, not dangerous. 4. Steer. Is there a real action I need today? If no, not useful right now. close it? If yes, write one action, do the first step, then close it, and then self-endorse. I endorse myself for not feeding temper. That's how you stop the news from programming your nervous system. Hannah 11, a perfect one-sentence identity script. Here's one that fits Lowe's method and your goal of consistency. I practice self-control in small steps and I endorse myself for every return. It's believable. It's behavioral. It trains identity. Chapter 12. A 10-second end scene. Lowe would favor something ordinary and controllable because that's what builds trust. End scene. You close the news tab calmly, exhale, open your task, do 2 minutes, then put a check mark on your proof line and feel quiet pride. That's 10 seconds. Replay it 10 times as you drift off. 13. The Daily Temper Plan. If you want real change, keep the plan small. Hi, morning. One long exhale. Say your identity sentence once. Pick one control target for the day. I will control my muscles when triggered. I will do one 2-minute rep. I will set one boundary calmly. Midday. Do your 2-minute rep. Jalzar's evening. Write one self-endorsement line. Replay your 10-second end scene. That's it. Your subconscious changes because you repeat. Macar 14. The two standards problem. A classic low-style teaching is that people often use one standard for others, a harsher standard for themselves that creates chronic temper. I should be over this. I should never slip. I should always be calm. Lowe's approach is more like hashkal. Use reasonable standards, endorse effort, return quickly. Your goal isn't a flawless emotional life. Your goal is a reliable ability to steer. Her 15. How to measure progress the Lowe way. Don't measure progress by, did I feel perfect today? Measure it by, did I spot temper sooner? Did I control muscles even once? Did I choose a better behavior? Did I endorse myself for effort? Did I return faster? If you improve those metrics, your life improves even before the feelings fully catch up. 16. A practical example, the I can't stand this moment. Let's say you see a scary headline and your body spikes. Old loop, headline, panic story, doom scrolling, exhaustion. See, I'm not okay. Low loop, headline, eat, spot, muscle control, truth, steer. Close tab, endorse yourself. That is self-control. That is training. That is freedom. Our 17. The biggest hidden win, you stop fearing your own mind. When you practice this for a few weeks, something shifts. You stop being afraid of feeling distressed because you trust your steering skills. That's what people actually want. Not a life with zero discomfort, but a life where discomfort doesn't ruin the day. Temper control gives you that. Character 18. A full nightly recording script you can use. Read slowly. Tonight, I let my body soften. I release the day without fighting it. I don't have to solve everything right now. I can't always control feelings, but I can control muscles and behavior. I can practice self-control in small steps. If distress appears, I remember. Distressing, not dangerous. If temper appears, I spot it and I steer. Tomorrow, when I'm triggered, I will drop my shoulders, unclench my jaw, and take one long exhale. Then I will take the next right step for 2 minutes. I endorse myself for effort. I endorse myself for self-control. I endorse myself for returning. I picture a small moment. I close the news calmly, exhale, do my 2-minute rep, and I feel quiet pride. That counts. That is proof. I fall asleep as the person who practices control. I fall asleep as the person who returns, and I rest.